This time on Holy Ghost Notes.
This episode brought to you by Liquid
I
Death.
would set booby traps.
Burn your hands off, how about
They
you?
basically locked me in this room.
Where are we?
Just never come back.
Bring her on down.
Too cool. Hello and welcome to the Holy Ghost Notes. My name is Matt. We have Tim and our special guest, Adam Gray.
Adam Gray.
Adam Gray.
Good to have you back,
back.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It was a fun episode last time, and it's good to do it again. So thanks for joining us. What have you been up to?
Everything but drumming. Yeah. I got into reading books, which has been pretty interesting. Actually really fun. I got through the first semester of school, you have to read books, whatever, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And it sparked an interest. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually fun. I enjoy, it's a very peaceful moment that I didn't know I was capable of having.
Right.
Yeah.
Just nothing else exists except for, I have no obligations. I don't need to be anywhere. All I
Right.
got to do is me and this book. And,
That's awesome.
And you're only getting smarter and growing your knowledge as you read. So why not? There was this statistic. It's reading X amount of books per year. It basically, by not reading that many books, you're missing out on 100,000 words per year. Foreign words that you are not in your vocabulary. And I'm just like, I don't believe you. So I kind of started diving in, and I realized I'm in the dictionary all the time.
Yeah.
Reading some of these words, I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
they were right.
What kind of books are
Expanding
you
that
reading? Are they
vocab.
mostly collegiate, or is it a mix of both fun
I did
and...
I did one fictional, just storytelling. I did two storytellings, and then I switched to textbook. And so right now I'm working through an organismal biology book, and I'm also working on a book called Breath, and it's explaining the origin and how important it is to breathe properly.
Interesting.
So basically, I kind of, unless I have to for school, I gave up on the storytelling because I want to get as smart as I can.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to learn when I read. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Just like I want to get better at drums when I play rather than just play. Because then I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Your personality is the same with books as it is with anything else.
If there's no excelling, then I have anxiety
pointless.
because it's pointless.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way I am. So
It's a
that's
curse,
interesting.
kinda.
So when
Yeah.
you sit down to read a book, it can't just be an average mundane experience. It has to be meaningful. It has to make sense of your time. Mm-hmm. It has to push you and challenge you.
Yeah.
So can you give us a recommendation for a book that we can read that maybe isn't as specific as your education, but just a fun read to challenge?
Well, I've only read, I only have 3 front to backs done.
Oh, so this is a new
I'm
venture.
new. Yeah.
Okay.
This is only since October.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So I'm
Man.
the one book. It's actually a C.S. Lewis book, The Screwtape Letters. You ever heard of that?
Great book.
That was
great book.
very difficult vocabulary wise.
Oh, yeah.
That was. I was in the dictionary for that thing all the time. Then I just stopped going to the dictionary because I'm like, I'm never going to make it through this. Yeah. And so that's a crazy one.
Yeah.
You could either read the dictionary or read the screw tape letters. So your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was I came out of, I rushed through it. I read it in 2 days because I rushed through it. I want to get this over with because I started it. Now I can't walk away from it. Mm-hmm. Not that it had me sucked in, but that I wasn't allowing myself to quit something I started. So it was okay, well, I'm already on page 30. There's 170 left or whatever. It's just stick it out, get it done. Then you have it under your belt, and now you can go do the things you actually want to do.
Is Screwtape Letters the conversation between the devil and his minions? Okay. And he's trying to...
It's a progenitor. There's a word I picked up along the way, too. A progenitor and a progeny.
Okay.
So it's parent to, but though it's uncle to,
right,
younger.
yeah.
And then...
Oh, okay.
And then he's writing letters on how to best influence humans.
Yeah.
And as a youngin', he's like, okay, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he's like, calm down. You got to make it think it's his idea. You can't just put things in his life, whatever. and I don't know, it was just interesting. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll go for it.
Did you find it eye-opening, like spiritually speaking at all? Like, did you like,
No.
That's how I get tricked into shit all the time.
I in a way, I started thinking like, damn, these demons are pretty cynical, or whatever. Like they're crazy.
I just watched a TV show called Fargo, I think it's season 3, and the one line in it reminds me of Screw Tape Letters, which is this: the greatest trick the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist. Which, of course, is not specific to Fargo. But that's what that book reminds me of. It's like he's doing everything he can to convince somebody that this is someone else's idea. So that you can never bring it back to the person who...
And it's like, so your human got involved in church. Well, make sure that the group that he gets involved with there are like the rich, laughy couples, so they're only there to look good. Make sure he gets involved with them.
Right.
And starts making plans, like dinner plans. Now they're doing their selfish whatever, or when he prays, make him pray to the cross on the wall, so that when he prays outside of his home, he envisions the cross instead of God himself. So it can be, it'll subconsciously create this false idol, and it's like, it was super deep, a little deep for me, but I had to stick it out.
Yeah. But you liked it. You liked it a little bit.
Yeah, it was. I don't regret it. Right. I was just, I prefer, the whole time I was like, I want to read my organismal biology book really bad right now, but
I have to get through this
until I get through this. But right now I'm doing 2, which isn't bad because they're so far on the opposite ends of the spectrum that I can bounce back and forth.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. So what's your major, or do you have a major?
Biology.
Oh, biology. Okay, cool.
And hoping to get into microbiology.
Nice.
At some point. But I'm so fresh that I don't know what the hell's going to happen,
Is that something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, well, it was kind of like once the whole drumming thing just kind of vanished. Once I realized, okay, this isn't going to happen, I was like, well, I need to brainstorm. What do I enjoy, or what have I enjoyed? Yeah. And I remember in high school, I had like 103% in biology, and I barely even had to think about it. Like it was like very passionate, but at the same time, I had like a 13% in English class. So that was proof that I really cared about biology, and I even when I didn't have to, or I didn't have any future plans, I was like I was hooked into it. So that's when I was like, well, I liked it then, and I didn't, whatever. So I'm like, maybe I'll try that. And then as soon as the ball got rolling, I looked into some stuff, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I'm obsessed. I want to know everything.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm like I look forward to class. It's like, very fun.
That's awesome.
The only thing I hate is math. Math sucks.
Yeah.
I'm decent at it.
I don't
but
math very well.
Is it challenging for you?
Well, I'm still so far in the beginning.
You're in the beginning.
I'm like still only the first step into college. Like I'm on my second semester ever. So my advisor even said, he was like, you're very enthusiastic. He was like, let's see if that holds up by the time you're third year. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But
he's probably seen students come through his courses that start off like you, and by the end they're just burnt out.
Yeah.
He's just waiting to see.
Yeah.
But that's not you.
Well,
that's
I study studying techniques and like intermittent studying and stuff like that. So it's like I do all my, I'm so obsessive when I set my mind on something that I do all my research, and I have flashcards made right now, and I don't even know what we're studying. Like I the inner workings of a cell, all the names of the people, everything I need for fundamental biology. Like I've been studying it for like a month now, even though I don't even know what the hell we're even going to talk about once we get in there. I'm just like, I want to know going in as much as I can, and I'm reading my book so that I can. It's like a foot in the door type of thing, and I enjoy it, so why not?
So
that's awesome, man.
Is there an end game in mind? Like, is there something that motivates you to be in school right now, or is it more so just, I like this new chapter of my life, it's somewhat challenging, it's going to be challenging, that's enough in and of itself? Or is there like, I want this job?
It has multiple benefits that I've found. One being it gives me fulfillment outside of drumming and music, because
Absolutely.
Being a musician is very difficult mentally for me, because I don't it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to have a job. I don't know. Like, it's not something that is concrete. always there for you. And I mean, proof is seen right now through the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so many musicians are struggling because they're just not doing anything.
Right.
But I mean, that aside, it's like I never want to step foot on a construction site again. And I know that for sure. So anytime school gets hard, or if I'm having really bad anxiety about grades or whatever, and obviously I'm still in the beginning, just keep that in your head. But I just remember how much I hate my job, like doing concrete. And it gives me fuel, like, well, you're doing this so that you don't have to do that. And that's kind of a benefit I've been looking for.
I have to ask you, have you interjected any of your atomisms into your classes? Like, have you said delightful enough times that the other students are like, what's this guy saying? No. Has anyone caught on to your...
No, I think...
Okay.
I think they...
You just keep it out of the equation?
I only... Because I always... I put myself in the professor's shoes, and I don't want some class clown who's almost 30 years old, you know? So I'm not...
Almost 30 years old.
Yeah, I'm not going to, like, intercept and say all this weird shit in there. I'm going to... When I answer questions or ask questions, the room laughs.
But it would
so
be
I think
easy
it's just
for
my
you to
delivery.
be like, too cool. If your professor says something interesting.
No, I keep it real straight. But they laugh, like I'm saying, like the room laughs.
They do.
And I'm like, why are they laughing? And I guess it's a delivery thing, because just the way that I, you know, especially me and my professor, we went back and forth about commas, and the screw tape letters is, dude, he's got. C.S. Lewis has paragraphs that are like half a page long that's just packed with commas. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I asked her about it. I sent her the thing, and I was like, is this not the worst run-on sentence you've ever seen? Like, how is this guy an author?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, it's about the era. That was before writing was modernized, and like over time, like the Oxford comma now doesn't. It's not a thing anymore. You don't put the comma before and anymore. Like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's like, and she's like, things change. I may be wrong about that, but that's what I've noticed is
I still use the Oxford comma. That's just me though.
Yeah, but it's not like a new thing they're teaching.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like things just vanish throughout time, and it's like they just learn to put a period and start fresh.
Yeah.
You know, keep it clean. Don't.
I think it's an attention span thing, right?
Yeah.
Because run-on sentences were shifted because people couldn't concentrate. People couldn't follow for that long, and they had to start a new paragraph, break it up, you know? I mean, now, actually, paragraphs are weird. Sorry, I don't want to nerd out on paragraphs now. I actually enjoyed English.
And writing
My wife's an English teacher.
Just cut this whole first 20 minutes.
So the paragraphs, like traditionally, right, there was just like a tab space at the very beginning of a paragraph. Now, like the way, like, because emails and social media and everything, you actually put like a whole space. You just break it up. It's just a block of text and then a space and then a block of text. So even that, like, just the way that people communicate has shifted so much since I was in grade school, you know? It's weird.
I was on
really
tour
boring to
in
talk
Ireland, and I went to a C.S. Lewis museum, and
Boring.
I got to hold. They basically locked me in this room and said, okay, you know, give me your cell phone, your keys, and go in this room, and we'll bring to you what you request. So I went in and I was like, okay, I want to read this C.S. Lewis letter and this C.S. Lewis page. And they brought me the original handwritten C.S. Lewis, like he wrote a letter to his mom kind of thing.
He was the 1800s, right?
Yeah, he
Late
died
18s?
in like 1950s.
Yeah, so late 18s born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't very old when he died, so probably like 1880s or so, 90s. But I was sitting there in Ireland, which I believe is where he was born. I was reading something handwritten by C.S. Lewis. And I mean, the way that he wrote was just like perfectly written, not a single mess up or like chicken scratch, you know.
Butter.
It was weird. Like the only thing separating me from that piece of paper from whatever 70 years ago was this little piece of laminate. And, you know, there's a guard standing on the outside of the window looking at you, just making sure that you don't, you know, put it in your pocket or destroy it or something. And
Wow.
I thought it was like really cool that they actually did that for people that are interested in C.S. Lewis, that you can go in there and actually see that stuff.
That's wild, yeah.
And I'm also mildly surprised that you read a C.S. Lewis book.
It was Cody Hoffner.
Okay.
He was like, dude, you got to read this. He was like, I sit down with my whiskey, and he was like, and I reread the pages just to he hasn't made it through it. He was like, try to make it through it, because he was like, I become so obsessive over what he means and understanding thoroughly each page that I couldn't finish it. So here. And then I blew through it in 2 days, and I was like, that was trash, but I'm kidding. It was good. But you asked me something that's the only thing that's not storytelling and not my schooling that I actually read. So that was like the only.
You would have I'd like to think that you would have gotten along very well with him, because I just know a little bit about his group, like his crew. He was friends with. I think he was friends with Tolkien, right? And they would they'd get together and they'd
had a writers club.
Yeah, they had a writers club. They'd get together and they'd smoke cigars and pipes and probably drink a bunch of whiskey and talk about the books they're writing, which, as it turns out, are some of the biggest, most famous books and now movies ever done. That's wild to think about. Oh, there's Lewis and Tolkien coming in our bar again. What do you guys? Oh yeah, we know what they want. Put them in the back. They'll be there for 6 hours.
I don't know if have you guys read The Hobbit ever?
Yeah.
No. So Adam hasn't, but there's a scene near the beginning of the book where they're all having dinner together. The dwarves are smoking pipes, and they're drinking, and I read another text at some point that said that Tolkien's inspiration for that scene, or that what he was picturing, was actually his writers club with these other guys.
Oh, that's cool.
C.S. Lewis included. So like they literally were just sitting around a table, smoking pipes, drinking some bad beer most likely, and that's akin to what it was. It's pretty
100 years ago now. Yeah. So anyway, that's cool. So if you're looking for something to read and you're not sure as a listener, like, I don't know, I've never really gotten into C.S. Lewis, might I challenge you to maybe check it out? Because Adam Gray is somebody we've been touring together for years. Nice, Adam. If you're wondering,
I want to cut.
Yeah.
Liquid Death.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, Adam is drinking Liquid Death. Do you like it?
Tastes like water.
Yeah. Seltzer water.
Sure.
Not LaCroix, though.
No. Nice.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you like it. Check out C.S. Lewis. You might not think you'll be a fan, but you might like it.
Or just search C.S. Lewis quotes. There's plenty of good ones out there. You get inspired just from a sentence.
Oh,
these days.
Yeah.
Or confused.
You don't have the attention span.
Or confused.
Yeah, or confused. Good point.
I also tried. Let's move from books. We just got 30 minutes in on books. Let's move away from them.
We're done with books.
Yeah.
Books.
Yeah.
I was just gonna go down another rabbit hole, and it's like, what the hell?
Talk about it later.
12 views on this video. That one. Yeah, it was his last interview ever. He only talked about a book.
That Adam guy. Yeah, he used to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we brought you on because we thought we'd kick it off right.
That's
no pun
right.
intended. I think we're kicking it off right.
I think we're fine.
We recently had Andrew Tkachuk on the podcast.
Legend.
And he had a lot to say about you.
We hang out every day, twice a day.
Do you really?
Yeah. We play video games 11 o'clock sharp and 4 o'clock sharp.
Yeah. Do you have a PS5
really?
yet?
Every day?
No, Xbox. Every day.
Xbox. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not working right now and he's not working, so it's like, oh well, we got time.
So you just got done gaming before this?
No, I didn't today. I got fuzzies, dude. Fuzzies are dropping into my eyes and messing me up right now. No, we play. It's based off of our buddy Cody's work, because he works from home and his lunch breaks at 11. And then he gets done at 4. So we play from like 11 to 12, and then we play from like 4 to 5:30 every single day, sharp. And so it's me, Cody, and Andrew every day. So we consider each other like best friends at this point, because even though you don't hang out in person, it's like you're on the phone with someone 2.5 hours a day. It's like, it's a blast. Like sometimes I'm, you're alone in your basement, but you're crying, laughing. You know what I mean? And it's incredible. Some of the
crazy.
best, some of the best moments just alone, but with the headset on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's wild. I just got for Christmas, my wife and I decided not to do anything for each other, but then she ended up getting me an Oculus. Have you seen the Oculus Quest at all? Like it's like a virtual reality thing, like headset that goes over your eyes. But my dad and my brother both have one, and my brother's, I don't know, 45 minutes from me. My dad is 2.5 hours from me. Mm-hmm. And the other day we found ourselves all using the Oculus bowling together. We were bowling in virtual reality together.
That's cool.
And it was the weirdest thing because it actually felt, I could hear their voices.
Yeah.
I could see their avatars. It wasn't actually them, but it was like we were hanging out, and I really wouldn't have known, there was nothing really different about it. It's not like we're very physical people, so we need to like hug and touch each other's shoulders or anything. It was like we were just hanging out. The communication was there. We were doing something fun, spending time together, and it was wild. So it's funny how like even though there's this disconnect because of COVID and you can't actually hang out with everybody like we used to.
Right.
There's still a sense of normalcy, or there's still a sense of community in these digital virtual realms,
Have you tried virtual reality?
Mm-mm. It's like a glorified Wii, I guess, right?
It pretty much, that's pretty much exactly what it's like.
It's
Wii's really
crazy.
fun. I've been wanting to try them. But
It's insane, man. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I have, but even like I haven't been to a movie theater in forever. There's like a movie theater app that you just plug in, and if I'm sitting on my couch with this Oculus on my head, after 15 minutes I forget that I'm at my house. I feel like I'm like in a movie theater or on a skyrise in the city, depending on what I plug in. It's pretty wild, pretty timely.
I miss the movies big time. Our friend Sean Hennessy owns a company called Major Mega, which owns a brand called Hyperdeck, and Hyperdeck is a VR company.
I saw him. He was putting together like some big crazy video game thing.
That is virtual reality. He sold a bunch of them. So they're based out of Rock Lidditz, and I guess it would have been two years ago. Aaron Spears was there with Ariana Grande and Liquid Death, your sponsor for this Adam Gray episode. So I asked Aaron, I was like, do you guys want to come over and play this game, this Hyperdeck game? It takes 10 minutes to play. It's a 4-player game. You step up on a deck and you have the whole sensory experience. He's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. So he talked to the band for Ariana Grande, and most of them came over and played, and he still talks about that to this day.
That's cool.
About how cool that was. Of course, it was good for Sean because he can take video of Ariana Grande's band playing his game.
Yeah.
But he was like, man, I can't believe that's not real. I step up on this thing, and there's heat, there's wind, there's movement, there's sound.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah.
He's so good at drums. It's crazy.
Who's this? Sean Hennessy.
No, Aaron.
Sean's pretty good, too.
He is great at drums.
You got these lug locks, huh?
Yeah.
You start using those?
What's this?
Top and bottom? Lug locks?
Lug locks
On the snare?
Lug locks are pretty good. I think they could be improved upon. They slide around with the actual tension rod.
Yeah, you really just need it here.
Do they?
Yeah, because
that rim shot lug.
Okay, so if you're not watching this video, I'm holding up lug locks, and lug locks are supposed to be squared, right? So that they lock in with the actual four
circular.
sides, and it's circular because
It's been worn in, yeah.
So it doesn't do much at that point.
Oh, so it doesn't. So when it hits the rim, it just continues to slide.
It continues
instead
to
of-
spin.
Oh, okay.
So they need to be made out of a material that's more rigid than this.
Was it nylon?
I think it's nylon or a form of plastic or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to get some metal washers.
Do you miss
Metal,
tuning
metal
drums?
washer locks.
No, I hate tuning drums.
miss-
I will.
You don't miss the tune bot?
I hate everything about tuning drums.
Okay.
Like I will.
What did you
it's
like
crazy
about
that?
drum
That was my
teching?
job.
Yeah. What?
I like being on the road, playing drums for 3 seconds a day.
Everything
and
but drum teching.
touring in a bus. Everything but drum teching.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I was just there for the camaraderie. Yeah.
And giving me the hardest of times.
Oh, and just staring, and
You messed up.
yeah, it's like about 3 minutes and 40 seconds into whatever the hell the song is, Pangea or whatever.
Pangea. We never even played Pangea on tour.
It's like, I heard that.
Adam, can you name one of our songs?
Yeah, Composure.
Okay. 13-year-old song.
No, I learned all of Messengers, but the rest fade to black.
It's the best transition in iMovie. Fade to black.
Yeah. No, I think I learned a lot of Constellations too, but then
You did. Well, you had to. You filled in for me.
Yeah, I learned what I had to for that tour, but I only had to learn like three others. I already knew most of them before that tour.
Yeah, you weren't very good when you filled in.
I messed up a couple times. I had a couple real bad ones. I had a bad timing one in
Did you really?
What the hell is
I was
that?
just kidding.
No, it's like a weird nerves thing, and playing without vocals was weird because the only times I've ever played those songs,
yeah.
I had many vocal cues, but in the drum mix there wasn't vocals, so it was like.
So you would rather have Jake's vocals in there?
Well, I would play off of the cues, like the ending of Composure. Like there's some sort of cue somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I know. Okay, now is the final time through because it's a polyrhythm and it's got a strange
it
Right.
loops weird.
cycle. It's got a strange loop, and I remember I got lost I was like, I don't know how many more times I'm supposed to be playing this. Like,
Right.
'cause I feel like I'm just on a never
Just keep
ending
going.
loop of the. Yeah, I'm just doing that, and I'm like, when is this gonna stop? Like, how long does this go for? And I can't hear Jake, and
You'll know. JB will turn around and give you
Yeah.
hell.
And I just like I think I just kept going, or like it was something weird happened.
That's so funny.
But
I think there's a lot of people
great.
who don't even realize that. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and about playing to a click, and like what my mix was just the click. I didn't even have the music.
Yeah,
in
we've
it.
done
It was
that
just
before.
a click blaring in my
that's
ear.
how I played for all of Texas.
And that's how I played.
Yeah.
And I memorized the song. I knew how I was playing it. I don't care how the rest of the band
Adam
played
still hears the
because they're
click
playing
at
to me.
I told the monitor guy, I was like, just turn it off.
Yeah.
I just have my monitor off.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah,
just turn that
because
off.
it
I don't want to
was-
hear it. You're gonna mess it up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
exactly
like,
right.
You're gonna give me so much kick drum that my shit's moving all over the place from the vibration. One time
Yeah.
he for some reason, like I had to in the middle of a song get up and spin it, and like I faced the monitor to the monitor guy and sat back down and kept playing because he had guitar so loud, and I just kept going like cut it off, cut. And he was just like what, and he turned it up higher, and it was so loud that I couldn't even think about what song we were playing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember, just like stopped, turned it, and jumped back in, and it was done very quickly. It worked out, but that sucked. I'll never.
Yeah.
I think it was Indiana. It's like burnt into my brain. I remember that venue. And
Yeah,
that was
man.
that monitor that's right here. You're like hitting your elbow on it. Like, why do you have such a big monitor for such a small stage?
Yeah.
Like get this thing out of my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technology has come so far. I mean, I realized very quickly playing shows that I could never depend on a stage mix with some other sound engineer.
No
I needed to
way.
be able to control it as much as possible. So I just had a headphone amp. I had all of our backing tracks on an iPod at that time.
Yep.
Plugged into my headphone amp. I had my click in one. The backing tracks went through the other. And I knew that every single show was going to be exactly the same because my kit was going to be set up the way I wanted it set up. Short of like a house kick or something like that.
And your sweaty fingers, you ever notice?
Oh,
you ever
my-
have that problem
Yeah.
in between
Oh,
songs?
that is the worst.
Shit's glitching around,
yeah.
moving,
Oh, I forgot
fast
about
forwarding,
that.
and you're like,
Song. No, not
the
last
band's
song.
just ringing out, looking at you, waiting for the click in, and you're like, it won't register. It won't. Like my fingers are too wet.
And then by that point, you're screwed because you're shaking all over the place.
And then you're like, all right, screw it. And then you just click in, and
We'll
then
do
now
it
all of a sudden
live.
you're doing it double the
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah. You're always playing too fast.
Yeah.
It's like you go back and look
yeah.
at videos on YouTube of you playing old songs. It's like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
that is twice as fast as the record.
Well, I think it was on our final tour, our rig basically just like collapsed. Like because we had the laptop, and you press, the laptop would be all of Chris's, our guitar player's, pedal changes.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Like everything was electronically on a grid.
Yeah, MIDI.
So
Right.
it sent me click, and it changed his guitar, like whenever he needs to go to distortion or clean or whatever, it automatically did it as
That's
long
cool.
as I'm on click. And it sent the 808s out, it was dispersed perfectly.
Lights.
But that didn't work.
Yeah.
So we just literally were like, okay, well, he's only got one guitar mode, and we've only got it. So it's a guitar player and a bass player, and we had a fill-in guitar player on the laptop. Because we couldn't get anyone in time to actually play the instrument. So we're like, we're doing our final tour like broken, like it's crazy. But it was one of our favorite shows ever because it was like we played Hook, Line, and Sinner twice. Like we played some songs twice because we'd stop in between every song and say, what do you guys want to hear? And the loudest one we could hear, we'd just say, well, we haven't played that in 5 years. And I'd just click in and try it,
That's awesome for the fans.
And it got crazy. And there was parts where it was like the ending of, like there was a breakdown we played and I slowed it down like half the speed and we're all looking at each other and I was like, yo, I'm going to slow this down. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, da, do, 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 da.
Cool.
Like, and the room goes crazy because you never, like the ending of Hook, Line, and Sinner, like whatever the hell it is. I can't even remember right now, but it, like imagine at like half the speed and it's like, it was like super heavy or it was really cool.
Drums?
So I'm like, damn, I wish that could happen more often, Can't we just throw away all the technology and just get out there? But we wouldn't be successful.
There is something nice about that raw, like, garage band
It was
vibe,
fun. I'm glad that we got to have that experience as bands. That's how we both started.
Yeah.
That's how we all started. But it wasn't bound. It can't last. It's a great memory, and I'm glad that we could do it. But Liquid Death brings you this episode.
Liquid Death.
But now I'm glad that we're not at the mercy of a sound engineer on the side of the stage who doesn't know us, never met us, and doesn't know what we want. Because it's like
Definitely
we
doesn't
set up
care.
our board, and we know exactly what we're going to get. Now, there is... As a listener, you might be thinking, well, it sounds pretty easy now. There are times when everything goes to hell. And
I get the
and
glare
it's
when
bad.
I'm on your when I was running the laptop for ABR. When you listen to a click so much while like playing live, the click becomes internalized and you don't even notice it's there anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the problem with that being a drum tech and being in charge of, because I was the laptop guy, I ran the laptop during the ABR sets and fixed whatever happened with him. So
Which never happened.
all the time. I used to get so bored during the set that I would set booby traps so that I knew I'd have to go out and fix them.
We're going to loosen this crash
No,
down
I
a
would
little.
I would just like give like your crash wing nut just like a little turn.
Little turd, yeah.
Just so that I'll see it start to spin like halfway through the set.
Adam Gray is not our drum tech anymore.
Run out there and fix it. I don't
This
know how I
episode
lasted
brought
so
to you by
long,
Liquid
but-
Death.
But yeah, and so what's crazy is, so you'd just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden the click would go out, but you wouldn't notice it until JB just stops and stares and starts screaming at you.
Meanwhile,
And I'm
Adam's
just like-
talking to some
I'm
fan
like,
side
"What?"
stage.
No, that sucked. That was the first time JB. He's such a kind person, and he screamed at me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was terrifying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, there's something
and I
that
was
happens
like,
to you
there's
when
no
you're
click,
on
there's
stage.
no click, and the computer died. Like they lost everything because something happened, and some I don't know what happened, but it lost its charge, and even though it was plugged in, it wasn't charging or something like that, or it was never plugged back in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is the
It all
computer
went
not
away.
working when really like I had to trace the source and it was just not plugged in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole awkward process, and that was while supporting architects. So you have like 10,000 people. That was in Poland.
Man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, I ruined the show for everyone because I'm over here talking to Ernie.
Ernie. That's who it was. It wasn't a fan.
He was the drummer
It was
for
a drummer for another band.
Whitechapel. And we were talking about whatever, and I was like, I pulled out one of my ears and I was like, oh yeah, we're talking about something, and then all of a sudden, there's some ruckus happening up in front of me, and I'm like, wait, what's happening? And then JB screaming at me because I didn't notice
In that 6 second
in
span.
that little section.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God, that sucked. But I mean, at the end of the show, I was like, dude, that was crazy. You've never yelled at me before. And he was like, dude, I know, I'm sorry, I get heated.
Well,
or
yeah, when you're
whatever.
on stage, You turn into
So
a
much
different
adrenaline.
person.
Oh yeah,
When something bad happens, it's like,
the fight or flight is crazy because you already have that crazy adrenaline coursing through your
man.
veins. That nothing like we talked about this years ago that we think there's like an adrenaline withdrawal because
absolutely.
when I stopped touring, I like went through a depression, strange like body depression almost like I was like I'm missing something, and it was like withdrawal from getting an adrenaline surge literally every single night for 10 months a year.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, well, that's probably why I have an aortic aneurysm. But
Yeah, dude. I went through the worst depression I can remember. Like the darkest time of my life was literally like right after I left my band.
Yeah,
It was like clockwork.
Yep.
And it's so true. There's so much. It's hard to explain it to someone who hasn't done it, who hasn't been on stage, because it's not just like they're like, oh yeah, like stage fright. Like, yeah, I've done that play in high school or whatever. I know what that means. It's like, nah, it's not quite the same.
it's literally
when you're performing something that you
like
poured your heart and
meditation.
soul into.
Yeah.
It's wild. You go to another place. In fact, half the time, like I don't actually remember, unless something very specific happened during the show. I don't remember most of the shows I played, because
Right.
I remember starting the show. I remember initiating the click, and I remember like packing my stuff up after the show was done.
Absolutely.
But I don't actually remember
I
that
can
period
relate
of
to
time.
that.
It was like I went dark.
Absolutely.
Because it's just you're in a different world. Hour-long shows were like 5 minutes.
I think some of this has to do with why musicians get into trouble with substance abuse. The way I was thinking, I think the way we talked about it was like most people that have normal 9-to-5 jobs, the highest that they're going to peak as far as like fight or flight or a dopamine dump is only so high. Let's call it a 5. But if you get on stage every night, your body is constantly searching for a higher number. And you eventually get to the point where it's like 6, 7, 8. You're hitting those numbers pretty often. And when you're not doing it, your body feels that lapse and you want to naturally get back to that number. Most normal people outside of the music industry or outside of the sporting arena or anything that requires that high number, they're not ever going to experience that number often. And so I think there's something to be said about like, okay, I go on tour, I play these shows, fight or flight kicks in, and then you go off tour and you're home for a while. I think it's probably been tough for a lot of people this year because like we were just talking about, our last show was March 13th. And that's the same for most people. We haven't played a show in that long. And so if you don't have a way to manage that, that can be really difficult. If you're used to playing shows often and getting that rush, you're just not going to get it anywhere else unless you pick up like, motocross or something while you're home. But that's just not really a thing. So
yeah.
Well, and that's fear. That's like a fear rush.
Travis Pastrana.
He actually doesn't feel fear.
He doesn't feel fear.
Yeah,
except when he sleeps.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Ah, man. Night terrors.
He has horrible night terrors in replacement to his lack of feeling fear as while
in his consciousness.
conscious. Yeah.
When he's awake, he feels nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
I did not know that.
Very interesting. It's like a condition. I
interesting.
forget what it's called.
Broken every bone in his body.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great,
Yikes.
man. His knees have to hurt by now,
my
right?
gosh.
Jeez, right? I don't know.
Think about your tinnitus just all over your body.
Just constant pain everywhere. My ears don't bother me anymore, really.
No?
No,
Really?
I got used to it at this point, I think.
Yeah. That's what Jake said would happen.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a rough road. You know how rough that road was, but yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I definitely am very, very. There's a word for this too, but I'm very sensitive to the sounds. So, like, if you would like hit that snare or play these, like, if I'm even in the house while these drums are being played, and my ears aren't plugged, like, because I don't allow my ears to hear anything above a certain volume anymore.
Decibel level.
Like when I listen to music, which I don't, but if I ever do, which is a weird fact about me that I actually don't listen to music. It's like half volume on the phone. Like anyone, or if I'm in the car, I'm not even hitting double digits on the volume, But I've found lately I'm so tired of the human voice that if I listen, I've been only listening to classical music.
Really?
Just background classical. Because I don't want to hear someone yapping about their problems. You know what I mean? And I'm like, everyone's singing about missing her or this or that. And I'm like, God, it's all the same. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
Cruise Control 75.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've wrote that song is just
On repeat.
yeah. I'm just like, all right, how can I capitalize on everything that sucks about country? Like it was.
That's a great song.
Yeah, well, I think it's a catchy
good
song,
song.
but lyrically, I wrote it in 30 seconds. You know, it's like it's the easiest genre ever.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
4.5 minute song.
I mean,
30 seconds.
obviously, it's not like it's not successful, but
Yeah.
when I hear
I'm
when
gonna
I hear
intro this
some of
episode
these,
with that
yeah,
song.
when I hear some of these other country songs, I'm just like, man, my song's better than that. This dude's on the radio.
Oh,
You know, it's about who you
100%,
know.
yeah.
You know, and I'm like, it's classic music industry. Like the best drummers will never see the light of day because they just don't
Or
have
if they
the
do,
outreach.
they're playing something simple that doesn't really
Yeah.
highlight what they can actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
It's true.
They have to. You have to network and you have to build yourself in order, and you have to be the best. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I mean, I write songs and I just release them. Like I have a rap song that I have
Yeah.
written and recorded. I've had it. It's been recorded for like 4 years. I just never released it, and it's actually
Man.
on par with Cruise Control. Like it's a good song.
Yeah.
Can we
it's-
intro this episode with it?
No, I just actually hit up Grant and I was like, yeah, remember that song I did with you a while back? Like, and I had a mix note and I was like, can you turn vocals up? And I want to plant one more little line in there, and I think it's like done. And I'm like, oh, it's because I haven't heard
I
it
can't
in
wait to
so
hear it.
long. It's great. It's about a guy who becomes addicted to killing, and tries to stop. He would. I won't get into it, but he tries to stop killing people, but nothing amounts to the high, just like the adrenaline. So he overdoses and kills himself because he all he wants to do is kill. So he's going to save people but as he's plummeting into hell, because obviously, yeah, he's just going to hell because this dude's the whole life was killing, blah blah blah. He doesn't care. He's just whatever. As he's plummeting into hell, he's looking back on what he could have done different, and so he's literally falling into hell. Like the words are leaving his mouth as he's plummeting into the fire, and he's basically just explaining what could have been different. And then at the end, it all turns around, and he basically walks out of hell like, no, I'm good. Like I'm whatever. Very strange, but lyrically,
That's a cool concept.
it just kind of came together.
Okay.
I wrote it like 12 years ago, and all these things I just wrote a long time ago, and I'm like, well, why don't I just record that? I have like 8 rap songs written though. I'm a huge Eminem.
That's impressive,
I'm a huge
man.
Eminem fan, so it all sounds just like him. But
I got a new appreciation for rap music when I tried to write one for our Patreon community.
I'll have to show that to Adam after this.
It's pretty terrible, but it was difficult. The writing it wasn't too hard, like writing it lyrically, rhyming and stuff, because that's just like lyrics. I write lyrics a lot, so it was similar to that. But actually, like recording it, like producing it, putting the drums in there, and like figuring out the production, and then actually like rapping was like insanely hard. So I have a major appreciation for it.
I
People that
feel
can
like
pull it off, do it
I
well.
feel like that's the case.
NF, I was like, I listen to NF and I get inspired, and I'm like, dude, this guy's so
Yeah.
good. I can do this, and then I try.
Do you like NF?
no,
You don't like
terrible.
NF?
I don't think I have a voice. I think that if I had a good sounding rap voice, I think my lyrics are crazy. My wordplay, because
Yeah.
I only listen to, like Eminem. Like I only
and
study.
you're a drummer. So
Yeah,
you
and
know
so
rhythm.
the mathematics and the wordplay and stuff like that. I'm obsessive about making everything perfect and connecting it in every area. Like all these different
Right.
not styles, all these different rhyming.
Cadences.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are very good at
Yeah.
that.
but my voice sucks.
You should keep doing that.
I'm like all nasally and stuff. Well, I write all the time.
I think you have a good voice for rap.
Nah. I
I could hear it.
it's there's a couple. It kind of depends on the mic, because I rapped into one mic before, and I was like, damn, this is cool. And then I rapped into another mic where I'm like, I sound like I'm just plugging my nose, and I'm just this guy going like, hey. I mean, it's like if
Yeah.
I would just start rapping right now, like that would be the most unlistenable thing ever. But when I had a mic and I was like being aggressive and actually using my vocal cords and like
Right.
being passionate, it actually turned out, and I was like, this is listenable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the writing the words and delivering it is great. It's just I wish I had the voice. But I might release my rap song just at some point, just like Cruise Control, like whatever, put it out there.
Right.
I'm done with music anyway. So what's it hurt? You know?
That's kind of the space I've been in too. It's like, let's just like release music.
Yeah.
Let's, I don't care at what level of quality it is, just get it out there because it's fulfilling. It feels good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I've grown into, like, I gave up caring what people think also. So it's like, well, here you go. Yeah. I'm not going to read your comments, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to delete everything. I think I'm going to vanish when I'm 30. I have this thing in my head where when I turn 30, I'm gone. No one ever sees me again.
From social media.
Social media, everything. Nothing. Where'd Adam go?
When is your
birthday? No one's
birthday?
going to ask. November 13th.
So you'll be 30
I'll be 30 in November.
this year?
This coming November.
November,
Yeah. Just turned 29. But I have this fantasy of, like, I might even get out of here before. I want nothing to do with it.
You need to like start dropping off like little by little, and then.
Well, I already have.
I
just did my first Instagram post since October 7th. Yes, like 2 days ago.
Might get out of here.
It's like 3 months or whatever, 2 months.
Either. Yeah.
And it's like, well, what am I trying to hold on to here? Like, I've already turned my sights in another direction. I think what it is I need to let go of, like, my followers, like my following, because it's hard. Like when I see my following on Instagram, it's nothing crazy, but it's enough to remind me of my success 10 years ago or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, I had a good run. But then I'm like, do I just like throw it all away right now? Like I might as well just hang on to it as long as I can and have fun with it. But
do you miss it?
Oh yeah. You like playing?
Yeah. You miss playing, touring?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think I could tour right now. I think my brain is wired a different way.
Okay.
I'm too jaded is the problem. I've just all that so fast, and it just made me, I'm unimpressed by everything. So there's like, like, oh, I'm going to Paris. Don't try this, like, don't go there, Or it's like, hey, I'm in Munich, and it's like, oh, yeah, where are you? I can give you directions to Starbucks on the phone right now. Like, So it's like, and nothing is exciting, and that made you just kind of made me just kind of fall into this dark hole. Anytime I'd go on the road, I would just want to be back in my basement because that's where I was most comfortable. Like, I just want to be home. I don't care if I'm at the Eiffel Tower. This thing is nothing to me right now. Yeah. So, and that is by definition jaded. Just like nothing. Like I'm not bitter. I'm just over it. So I'm like, okay, well maybe that.
So what opportunity would have to present itself?
It would just
be back on tour?
I mean, it would have to be my dream, which was, I just wanted to be a drummer in a band with a drum tech, tour in a bus, and it pays my bills.
Okay, so what if something terrible happens to me?
Well, then I'll be there.
You would do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the dream is not.
Adam's got his
dead.
assassin on speed dial.
Yeah. It's just, I'm just like, how
if
people say
happens.
Like, there's no plan B. I don't have a plan B. I'm gonna make it. That whole thing that people do. I'm just not passionate enough to feel like that.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, oh, I'll just go do this.
I understand that.
And it's like and I know that by saying I would have been successful. Like I would have made it if I wanted to enough. And I didn't want to enough. So it's just proof. The fact that I didn't go after it, the fact that I didn't book a studio and make all these drum videos and really push for it because it's what I truly wanted. Like, just like all success stories. If I really wanted to, if you really want to do something, you'll do it. But I just proved to myself that it must have not been as much of a passion as I thought because I'm not going for it, So
I think too, there's truth there for sure. I do think that the people who want it the most typically do get it, but I do think that there's a luck factor in a lot of cases. Like, I don't think everyone successful out there these days wanted it the most.
Yeah.
I think they were in the right circumstance.
I think if more people had, your mentality, it would be a better world.
And talent.
It would be a better world. And here's why. What I don't hear you saying is I'm a victim. What I don't hear you saying is I'm entitled to this and I didn't get it. And my word of advice for young drummers, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, is like, I get asked a lot, how do I get there? How do I do this? What's the secret recipe? Who should I talk to? How do I make connections? Who do I network with? And it's like, you're asking all the wrong questions, as if any of that is what it will take, because it's all a distraction from what it's going to take, which is just you putting in the work. And what I like about what you just, that is to me, that's profound, not just with drumming and the music industry, but it's profound because it's like, I wanted it badly enough to have it for a while, and then I didn't want it badly enough to keep it going. And that's ownership. And that's going to yield you a good result, which is like, okay, that was cool. Kind of miss it, kind of jaded. I'm on to the next thing.
Exactly.
And now I'm going to own this.
And it's
so
exciting.
You take that with you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you approach it a different way, it's like, well, I'm a victim of this. I didn't get what I wanted. Luke Holland is really successful, and I gave him some tips and tricks and helped him along. We're amicable, things are good, but you wouldn't have to have that perception. It could be, oh, I hate that guy. Like, that guy got what I wanted. But instead, it's like, well, I did what I did. It was a good thing. Good for Luke and all the other drummers that were inspired by your drumming, which, there are a lot of drummers that were inspired by your drumming. I see your stick tricks all over these covers of ABR songs that I'm looking at. And instead of saying...
And most of them, if not all of them, would admit
to
that,
100%. Yeah.
No, I love, because, me and Luke we had, it wasn't a falling out, but we had there was an underlying tension there for maybe a year or so.
Like maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, because when I was at my peak and he was taking off, and I was like, damn, and he was doing the stick tricks, which was cool. And we talked about it. It was like, it's whatever. But I did have a jealousy problem for a while about it, because I'm like, that's what I should be doing. But like what I was saying, I never did. All I had to do was go make videos and, be the competitor.
That's
it
exactly
would have been
right.
fine. But I didn't, because I didn't
want to. You could probably
want to.
still do that now.
Nah, dude, I don't play drums. Dude. Yeah. It's like, in my head, it's like riding a bike. Like, the only thing I'm losing is stamina. If I sit at a kit, I'll rip it to shreds. But I don't... I don't really, obviously to an extent, but but yeah, with Luke, we DM regularly, and we crack jokes. We talk about all this type of stuff, and whatever. Yeah. But I remember being upset one time because after a show, someone came up to me and they were like, "Oh, I see you got the Luke Holland thing going on," and I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Well, the stick tricks," and that's where you could get under my skin, because I was like, "Dude, man, I'm the guy." I had that moment in my head, but then it's like, well, no, you're not. I got my stick tricks from Giuseppe, and because he would always he played for Once Nothing, now plays for
Prada,
Devor's Prada, and he would always do backward stick flips. And I saw him play in Once Nothing when we were just a little local band, played with him, and he was doing little just tricks every now and then and whatever. And I was like, walked up and I was like, "Dude, your tricks are so sick. Can I start doing that? Because I don't want to steal it. If it's your thing, right? I'm not going to steal your thing." And I was like, and he was like, "Dude, stick tricks are for everybody." And I was like, "Hell yeah." and then I was like, "But I promise I won't do yours, which is the backward flip." That's why I started doing the front flips. Because all my tricks, I think I was obviously not the first one doing it, but that's when you started seeing those front flips come around in all the local bands. You know what I mean? Because I started doing the fronts instead of the backs because Giuseppe was doing the backs.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then and the juggling thing, whatever. But so everyone gets it from somewhere. And then Luke started making videos and did a Hook, Line, and Sinner cover, doing tricks, and then we started talking, and then he filled in drums for me, and then we talked about stick tricks. And I remember one time he was like, "Can I use the behind the back flip in a video?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, go ahead," just like Giuseppe. I was like, It's
Yeah.
like the tricks are for everyone.
tricks for
you know?
everybody.
Stick tricks are for everybody.
But then what I didn't realize is it was gonna just fucking take off, and I'm like, damn it!
Yeah.
But it's like I gotta be proud of him because he's a friend, but at the same time, like I was bitter for a little while.
Yeah, he's great.
And now that I'm walking away, I can't be happier for him because he actually did what I didn't. Yeah. He makes the videos, still just putting them out. You know,
he paid his dues,
and he's also coming into his own too. He's got his own style. His own,
There's
way
no
about
relation
him now, so
between
it's
us at
cool.
all now. Actually, on a drum set,
right?
So
Right.
and his tricks,
Yeah.
I actually noticed now he has his own. Like he's not using any of mine anymore. So I'm just like, hell yeah. He does that thing where he smacks it off the snare, whatever the hell it is. I'm like, I don't know how he does that. You know, he has a similar one with the hand here that he does with both hands.
Yeah.
But it's not the same one
It's
I
not
do.
the same
it's
one.
it's like even in a different finger. So I'm like, he developed all his own shit, you know, and it all worked out in the long run, in the end.
In the long run.
Yeah, in the end.
So
It
it's very
certainly
interesting.
did. I mean, he is very successful.
And now he's insane.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, oh, I'm better. I'm better.
Yeah,
and then now it's like, I am not better.
he's one of the best.
Because he just kept going.
He's great. He's good. Yeah, yeah. So I have a question for actually both of you. I'm going to steal one of Matt's questions that he had written down and ask both of you guys this. So I know you guys have discussed the idea of a normal life. Now both of you actually have, quote unquote, a normal life. What is that like, having this sense of normalcy at this point that you might not have had before?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's great. I think I'm understanding the question. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's-
the question was it was rooted in what we talked about in Europe a lot, which was like, can you imagine waking up at home every morning, going to work, coming home, having dinner, filling up your vehicle with fuel, going grocery shopping.
I love grocery shopping. Yeah, we were just talking about
Seeing
that.
your
It's like one of my favorite things is just walking up and down the aisles.
So now you have it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm like, I get anxiety driving 20 minutes. Like I don't have anxiety here because this is very familiar. But like,
Yeah.
if I'm somewhere foreign, like we went snow tubing the other day, 2 hours away. It was from the minute we walked out my front door, it was a nightmare, and all I wanted to do was come home. Yeah, and I'm like, did I just like develop some sort of crazy deep-rooted anxiety about traveling, like somehow subconsciously connected to, or subliminally, whatever, connected to my past?
Your
like,
past, yeah.
And when my final tour with ABR was absolute hell for me mentally, like depression, anxiety, all that stuff. So that was one of my hardest tours ever. And it was an easy tour. It was just I was in a very, very, very rough place mentally. And I think longing to come home that bad was so detrimental that it burned a pathway in my brain.
Absolutely.
And now I don't ever want to leave home.
Right.
You know? So that's like...
Right.
I'll be like, oh yeah, let's travel. Let's fly to Colorado for the weekend or whatever. That's just making that up. I'll say that until the day comes that I have to go fly to Colorado. Then I'm like, can we cancel? I'm not leaving. I can't leave. I'm not leaving, you know? So that's very strange. Yeah. So in relation to your question is, I have gotten used to the normalcy and I've like become addicted to it. So where like, I need my 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock gaming session. I need my I read a book from 9 to 10. You know, like I have perfect, and I have severe OCD as well. So when I lose things that are in my schedule, I panic. You know, so
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
It's very strange.
It's awesome to hear that you like it, because the contrary would be that you don't. You hate it, and you don't have the opportunity to be back on tour to enjoy the other side.
If I hated it, I would make myself succeed playing music.
in another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I would find a way. I'd start making videos. I'd do anything I can to get out there, but I don't want to go out
There's
there
nothing
anymore.
pushing you towards
so
that.
yeah, I don't have this
Right.
I don't have this draw. Like obviously I love drumming, and like I wish I could like have a career doing it, but at the same time I fear that if I had the opportunity, I'd still push myself out of it, because I'd start
Right.
doing it and be like, this is what you've always wanted, but then being like, but why am I so depressed? Why? But I think a lot of the depression is because I wasn't getting that dopamine dump of walking out on stage every night. I was setting them up and watching you live my dream. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I can only do this so much.
Yeah.
So it's weird that you start a band when you're young and you're not an adult yet. You don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You have no idea who you are, and you have no idea what you're going to be until you develop through your formidable years. And what happened, I think, both of us, is that when we started our bands, we were in our teenage years. Had no idea who the hell we were. We grew up and we realized both of us like routine. I like to have a regiment. I'm a task-oriented person. I like to wake up and have my list and, go through everything in a day's time. On tour, oftentimes, you either don't have a list at all and you have no way to achieve checking off a list because there's nothing to do. You're in a parking lot in the middle of Illinois.
It's a funny little thing. So me and Andrew and Cody play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And there's this place on the map when you drop into Verdansk. Anyone that plays Call of Duty knows exactly what I'm talking about. They might not know the location, but Verdansk, this language that you won't know, they know. So
I'm offended.
So when you drop into Verdansk, there's this place, and there's a helicopter, and it's right along the coast, and there's this big statue, and it's just this weird Russian-looking statue thing in the middle of nowhere. And we nicknamed that part, because a lot of time we say, like when we jump out of the plane, we say, all right, we're going to Storage Town. That's
right.
one of the places. We're going to a TV station. That's one of the places.
Right.
We call that off day. Because it's where a bus would park in Europe on an off day.
Absolutely.
Just the middle of nowhere with some stupid, crazy statue. So that's called, all right, I'm going off day.
Yeah, off day.
Yeah, because it's
great.
like we've stepped out of the bus in Belgium too many times to just like, where are we?
What are we going to do today? Those are tough days, man.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the other kind of person who's more in love with the spontaneity of things. So they'll go about their day and they'll be like, I just can't wait to get out of here and go on a vacation. But you don't know what you are until you're an adult, right? I mean, you don't know that when you're 17 or 18. So when you form the band, you don't yet know who you're going to be. You don't have a choice in the matter to do one or the other because you're on tour. And then I found as we get into our upper 20s, you're 29. I'm a little bit younger. We
certainly look younger.
We figured out, oh, okay, I'm actually not like I used to be. That's part of the problem with having a band is like, how do you all get along? Because you started off as best friends, but you were different people. And with ABR, fortunately, I'm in a band with the best 4 people in the world I could pick to be in a band with. And it's because of that we can actually make it work. But there were years where it was tumultuous. It sucked. Like I didn't want to be in the band because I didn't like the people I was in a band with. Because we were changing. Because we were just kids, We were just kids, just teenage
hell,
high school kids, just trying to.
Our first European tour was 2 years after high school 2 days after high school graduation.
You were super young,
and we literally graduated, and 2 days later got on a plane and just landed in Germany. Like what the hell? And it was a sold out show, headlining, and it was just like, people know us here, and it was just the craziest. Just there are no rules, and we lived like that for 3-4 years. Like there's just. Especially in Europe, there's actually no rules in Europe. It's crazy, but seemingly, it's like these people are just walking the streets with booze. It's like what? Like you get out of your car. Obviously, you're not driving. You walk inside, you buy booze, and you drink it in the parking lot. Drink it in the car, like as long as you're not behind the wheel. And it's like. Talk about some 17-year-olds drinking beer at 9 a.m. in the car on the way to the venue. Just crazy. Nothing matters, and then you're just you're just doing everything you can to make the craziest memories you can. So it's like it's 1 a.m. but this, and then someone says an idea. It's like, well, we have bus call at 3 a.m. to drive all day to get to the next place. We got 3 hours of sleep right now, or we get nothing because we're in a 9-passenger Sprinter with 8 people.
Oh my gosh!
And sitting on your luggage and holding my snare every day, and the heat doesn't work, and it's January, but and you're shivering, and you can see your breath, and you're hungover, and you're just
Right.
but you still go do it. You're like, we're doing
Yeah.
it
Isn't
because
that
I want to
crazy?
look back and say that I did that. You know?
Oh
So,
my gosh.
So some of the, I mean, you make a lot of regrets doing that too, but luckily it was just fun. You know, it was just crazy.
Yeah,
You and your guys just dancing in a club where you don't know anyone. The music's so loud that if you scream at each other, you can't hear each other.
Oh, yeah.
And all you're doing is just dancing, and it doesn't matter because you are in the middle of nowhere. 5,000 miles from home, you know? So I can try the worm right here, and no one's going to judge me or talk about it because I'm in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
you know?
You're never gonna see these
So you're
people
just like,
again. Exactly.
whatever you
Yeah.
ever wanted to do, like, be yourself. Just let it out. Let's just, whatever, you know, crazy. I climbed like a fountain statue, jumped off, like, dancing in the water, you know, whatever you want to do. Like, you just do it. It's really fun.
Live
And that's
life.
how we get the old stupid American. Look at those stupid Americans.
That's how you get the old.
Look at him. He's climbing the
where we got
statue.
No parents, no
What an
rules.
idiot. But that's fresh out of high school. Some kid, you just put him on a plane and get him on stage in front of people every night. What do you think's going to happen? You know?
Right.
And give him endless beer. Europe. It's like, yeah, you got any water? No.
No.
But here's a six-pack.
Here's some backs. Drink some backs.
It's like, and if you do get water, it's sparkling. Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Still, or-
Liquid Death, the proud sponsor
about
of
that time.
today's
Liquid
episode,
Death.
About that time.
Yeah.
the finest
that
water
time.
from the Alps.
The finest water.
Murder your thirst. I'm expecting a 12-pack.
There you go.
Email me for my address.
So I have a few questions from our Inner Circle Patreon supporters that I want to toss in there before we wrap. There's some good ones actually today. So first one is for you, Adam. It's Seth Miller wants to know, based on the Patreon drum lessons that you did a while back, what practice kit were you using, and where could he find one or something similar?
If it was the mesh head one, it's right there.
It's over there.
And it's Matt's, and he said I could borrow it for these videos. I don't know what it is. I think it's like a Walmart
Is it a
kit.
DW
Oh no,
practice
yeah. I guess it has.
it's a
No, it has
Walmart
to be a DW, right? Because he can't play
He
anything.
gets
But
those
yeah,
for free. It's even cheaper than Walmart.
yeah. But he let me have that for about 3 days, and then when he took that back, he took my
about when the
hi-hat
lesson
clutch. So then if I got to play at all, I just had these droopy hi-hats stacked on each other, just like stacked both the same way, you know?
Yeah.
Just beating that around. And then,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't really know how to answer that because I don't know. And the guy that knows just got up and walked away.
Yeah.
you
And
go.
where did Matt go to grab the
Yeah,
practice
I think he
kit?
grabbed my beanie. Is that my hat?
Oh, all right.
Milwaukee.
That's it.
Dude, Milwaukee beanie. It's nice.
So I guess next question for you, Adam, is from Greg LaFranchi, and he wants to know how your foot's doing after the accident.
It's okay.
Yeah?
It's strange. I think the surgeons were in a rush because it kind of seems like they just slapped it together and pop, pop, pop,
No
and
way,
rolled.
seriously?
Yeah, I sometimes feel that what's that called? Disassociative syndrome or something.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes I
yeah.
like just want to cut my foot off. Like I'm like this isn't mine. It's
not
yeah.
mine.
Wait.
That
really?
actually happens sometimes, yeah. And I'll get like cold sweats when that pops into my head. I'll be like, oh, I don't like this feeling, you know, and I'll get cold sweats of anxiety because I'm like, why would I don't want to cut my foot. That's my foot, you know, like why would I want to do that? But then I'm like, but it's like I don't want it there. It's uncomfortable, you know, like and because like there's something weird about it. They didn't because it was a degloved injury, so the heel skin was just completely off. It was like dangling off the bottom of my foot, like when my bone was all exposed, and a clean slice wrapped like all the way around to the Achilles tendon. So it was like they took the bottom of my foot, put it back up over my heel bone, and then stitched it up, right? But
Stitched it, yeah.
the night of my crash, there were 8 motorcycle crashes and surgeries. So I think they're just slapping us all together, getting it all done so people don't die, you know?
Heel from this guy, another heel
God.
from another
So
guy.
why
So-
that night in particular? Just
It was
random? Or?
it was
New Year's Eve?
No, it was one of those holidays.
Okay.
What's it called?
So it wasn't that it was like rainy, foggy?
What's September 1st or 2nd? What's that holiday?
Labor Day?
Labor Day.
Or-
Labor Day?
Is it Labor,
Labor Day
Day?
weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, that
It was
makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
And everyone was out getting crazy. Yeah. But and they were like, "Yeah, you're the 8th, sir. You're 8th in line." Like, and I'm just like, man, And so my heel, the skin and the muscle, like my heel bone, you know how like your heel is supposed to come down and round, and that skin and tissue is cushion for your heel bone. Well, my heel bone's above it, and the cushion's below. Like my foot looks all messed up in the back. Jeez. And it feels that way too. So if I can feel its imperfectness, and it's also half numb while being hypersensitive. So it's just a strange feeling down there that doesn't feel natural or correct. But to answer the question, other than that, full use, it's perfectly fine. It's sore often, but whatever.
How is
everything's
your
always
girlfriend's
sore
recovery?
anyway.
Has it?
She's
been
good.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, she has back pain, but it's at this point unrelated.
Okay.
She has some other disc problems going on, but
Okay.
I think that crash-related stuff for her is out of the way.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, which is good on me because I'm, I was driving. I was the guy in charge of the damn handlebars.
Right.
I must say riding the bike with
Driving.
her. Yeah. Jeez, that's against code. But,
What kind of motorcycle guy are you, Adam? Jeez.
well, it didn't feel right saying I was riding because she was riding the bike.
Yeah,
I was
Steering.
operating the bike.
Yeah, that's true.
She was riding.
You were piloting the bike.
Yeah.
You were in charge.
If I ride alone, I ride my bike. But
There you
if
go.
I ride, we ride. But I'm, it was kind of weird there for a
I
second.
feel like
in my
there's a
head.
song idea in
control.
there somewhere. Yeah.
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 Last question is from Brandon Taylor, and this might be the best question we've ever been asked on this podcast. I love it. And this is a question for all three of us. So, if your preferred drum companies disappeared, so no more DW, Zildjian, Vic Firth, for example, and you start tour in 24 hours, what gear are you picking up?
Really will make you question why you're playing what you're sponsored to play. Okay, I'll go first. I would play Zildjian, Vic Firth, Evans.
Well, they're not available.
Ultimate.
Yeah, if your preferred drum companies aren't available, if they disappeared.
Oh, I thought if you got
Where are you
dropped from your
going?
sponsorships
Secondary.
and you had to go out and buy it.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, if you can't get
so
what
you
you like
can't
to
say-
play.
When everyone's sponsored.
Yeah, come on, Matt.
Okay, I misread the question. Okay, so your drum.
So if
okay,
your
so you have to-
preferred drum company, the company that you would choose to play,
Yeah.
I assume for you it'd be the ones you were sponsored by, if not
that's why I was
contractually.
sounds a little bit incriminating. All right, I got you.
The ones you would choose
I'm
to play,
following.
if you can't play those, then who would you go with?
I quit.
That's all he can say.
That's all I can say. Yeah, we
Next.
understand Matt can't honestly answer that question.
No,
just-
no. I can answer this question.
I'd play bongos for
Wait,
cymbals
I'm
because
gonna
there's-
answer this question.
You can't. There's no cymbals.
There really
if
aren't.
If you don't get Zildjian, I mean Sabian's cool.
But if I have to, I'm going Sabian. I
Yeah.
recorded Messengers with Sabian, so I
Yeah,
know
that's
it
true.
works.
Yeah, and that China lasted you about half a song.
Half a song
I could,
composure.
dude. The Sabian cymbals were very nice tone, but I couldn't get them to survive.
Well, dude, you hit so hard.
Yeah, I used to hit really
oh my
hard.
gosh! And there's not a lot of freedom in your cymbal
Yeah.
swing, so it's just like
I used to hit so hard that it was defeating the purpose of a cymbal. If you hit a cymbal hard enough, it doesn't wash.
Right,
It just
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like shh.
Yeah.
Because you're shutting it up at the same time you're hitting it.
it's attack.
There is actually
Yeah.
a right way to hit a cymbal. Most people don't
Yeah.
know it.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
you just hit
I-
things when you play drums?
I don't.
No, there's a
I
right
don't
way
like
to
this.
hit it.
I don't like the. I don't like the swooshing of the wrist
like the
cymbal
swooshing?
hitting.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. I hate seeing it. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't look at this guy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that pullback though. You need the, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Otherwise you're-
molar the cymbals.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Because if you just go like this, you risk a bunch of different stuff. But if you
You're gonna be
molar it,
cracking cymbals,
that
breaking
second
sticks.
little hit keeps the wash going, and it keeps your cymbal controlled.
Helps the routine.
It helps the routine of its control.
Right.
There
That's
you go.
right. Okay, so here's mine. I'm going with Sabian cymbals. I'm going with Tama drums. I'm going with ProMark sticks. I'm going with Remo heads. For some of these, there are only really one other
Another option,
good
yeah.
option, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I used to play Vader before Vic Firth, but I wouldn't
3A,
even.
classic fatbacks.
Yeah, the 3As were nice.
They were
You know what? I'm going to go Vader
Yeah.
for sticks, actually.
Yeah.
Those were good sticks. They still are.
That Vic Firth 3A though is just out of control.
Yeah. Delightful.
You had to go mess it up with your signature.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with 64s for in-ears.
Okay.
Hardware is gonna be tough. I guess I'm gonna go like just Tama straight through. Tama Iron
Yeah.
Cobras. Those are good pedals. And yeah, that's about it.
I think I will. I like the Tama, but since you said it, I think just to be different, I'm going blacked out Pearl kit.
Pearl. I knew you were gonna
Yeah.
say Pearl.
Yeah.
I knew you were
What's
gonna-
that? That classic.
Masters Export Forum.
Is that was
Star
that Joey
Classic?
Jordison back in the day?
Star
Joey
Classic.
Jordison
Star
back in the
Classic,
day.
yeah.
Was that that?
Oh yeah.
That Pearl kit and the Pearl eliminators.
Oh yeah.
The only problem with Pearl hardware is at the time I hit way too hard for them. They just break.
Yeah.
DW is the only cymbal stands that actually.
I don't like the Pearl
don't
cymbal
break.
toppers that they make.
Oh, I hit the ceiling with them.
Oh,
you
yeah.
put that thing on, I hit it one time.
It's like, are
Yeah.
these just made for jazz guys?
Yeah. Yeah,
The- like the quick locks.
the black one,
Yeah.
or the red one, the European festivals. That's all they got.
Man.
I got in an argument with one of those. You know those psychopathic drum techs that are always in Drum World at European festivals. Well, you get your own kit at the festivals, but for me it was
I haven't always.
you get to a thing and there's this guy,
Yeah.
and he's got this Drum World, and he's like, "What do you need?" You know, and it's like, oh god, and he's like, bandana, like big chains. I'm like, this dude's a lifer.
Yeah.
He's
I
been
know
on
that
this
guy.
stage
Yeah.
every year for the last 40 years, whatever. But that dude, we got in a back and forth because I was like, I can't use the Pearl tops. Do you have any wing nuts? Because the Pearl tops will fall off. And he was like, no. I think we were in
They're
Germany.
fine. Everybody
Yeah, he was like,
uses
it's
them.
fine. Yeah, look. And he put it on. He was like, look, hit it. And I just looked at him and I went, "Psh," and it went, flew up in the air. And he was like, oh, I've never seen this. And I was like, that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm like, you need do you have any? And then finally,
located
whatever.
some?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I remember it was those Pearl things. But other than those.
Gotta get rid of those. Otherwise,
and,
you're fine.
and they
I use those
they also
for a
have the
short time.
ball.
oh,
The underneath, that's the ball, and it's got the
Yeah.
that you hit that once, it falls over. But
DW has a quick locking cymbal brace now too. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah?
Like
But
it's
it
like
works,
a wing
though, I
nut,
bet.
but it works.
I bet.
Yeah.
I don't have it myself, but supposedly it
They are
works.
the best.
Mm-hmm.
They are so heavy, but they are the best.
Yeah, this is a really tough question. I would probably go Tama as well. I actually have a Tama snare, and it's the best snare I've ever had in my entire
Oh,
life.
that is an awesome company.
I miss my
coolest
Tama kit. Or
snare.
Ludwig.
Ludwig?
I miss my
Ludwig's great
Ludwig
too.
kit. That was my first
Ludwig's
kit.
Good.
Yeah,
I love Ludwig. My first
you
kit
go
was
Ludwig?
I think I might go Ludwig.
Adam's going Ludwig.
I'm going Ludwig.
He's getting away from Pearl.
That thing held its tone
Tama
so
Pearl
well.
Ludwig. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are classic kits. Those are
Yeah.
classic.
The
They look
kick
so
drum,
cool.
I've never, I don't even think I've ever heard a kick drum that sounded as good as my old Ludwig. I was 6 when I got it, so
That could be a
maybe it was
factor.
just that first time hearing a kick drum fall in love
favorite
type of
kit
thing.
ever.
But and you know what? I think we gave it away for free in the front yard,
Yeah.
Man,
the kit, and I wish we still had it.
yeah, my
From
first kit
somebody's
definitely did
basement.
not sound good. I knew it even when I was 6. But I don't know what I do with cymbals. I like some of the Meinls, but I've only ever used Zildjian, so I can't even really
Yeah.
say what
I'm
I
kind
would
of
do.
in the same boat.
Same with sticks. Like I used Vader and ProMark like one pair in my life
Yeah.
for each. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't have Vic Firth, the ones I wanted or whatever. You know,
Right.
yeah, I don't even know what I would do. Maybe Vader. Hardware, probably Tama. Tama's pretty heavy duty.
That's Iron Cobra, right?
Iron Cobra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do Tama hardware, Ludwig kit,
Yeah.
ProMark
Yeah.
sticks.
ProMark.
I think so.
Okay.
I remember they have that one that's not shiny. It's that it's like a dull stick.
Yeah.
Great for just destroying your fingers.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
But I remember that like when you'd get real sweaty, it wouldn't slip. You'd never have to try to wipe. You're just the more sweaty your hands are, it actually sticks to the stick.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lacquer on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my signature stick.
But with tricks, it when it's too sticky, sometimes I'd go to do a flip and I just throw it over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it needs the slip.
I hated
it
the
needs to be a
coated
perfect
sticks.
slip.
Did you ever have those coated sticks, like the purple Zildjian?
Or the Silver
Sticks.
Fox. You remember
They gave
Silver
me-
Fox?
They gave me blisters. Oh my gosh, I hated those sticks.
No,
Hated
that always seemed gimmicky to me.
It was a sales tactic. For sure.
I'm sure they
Like,
sold
I
a
drop my
ton.
sticks all the time. Maybe this will help. Nope.
Yeah.
Burn your hands off. How about you?
Yeah.
I used to wrap my sticks. I used to do
did too.
Pro Marks with the black tape wrap.
Yeah.
Those were
I
awesome.
did tape wrap too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did tape wrap. Yeah.
Speaking of wrap, let's wrap this up. I gotta go.
I just want to ask one last final real quick question. Is that all right?
You got
just
it.
1
Do
minute.
it.
Okay.
Let's
cool.
do it.
Adam. So it's been a weird year, tough year. A lot of people are struggling with their mental, emotional, physical, they were once doing something and now they're not. So what advice would you offer someone who's, what are you doing for your mental, emotional, physical health that has been helpful to you that you could recommend for somebody else? And if you're not doing anything, but you want to do something this year, you can talk about that too.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question because I'm like this.
You're all over the place.
Some days I've been trying to dial it in. I think it's a chemical reaction.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I feel chemically like a different person than I was yesterday, and I did nothing else.
Okay.
So I've been trying to figure out what that is that I'm feeling, but I mean, for me, I fell out of it kind of recently, but I'm getting back into it and blah, blah, blah. Meditation is actually a huge thing. And people beat that into the ground, but there's a reason why, the breathing is so important, and just sitting and focusing on your breath and breathing through your nose as much as possible, because mouth breathing is actually evolutionary, and it is a problem. It is a big reason behind snoring, sleep apnea, all that is because over time, breathing through your nose enough, breathing through your mouth enough, it actually, I won't get into it, but breathing through your nose, and that's big with meditation, in through the nose, out through the mouth, right? That nasal, if you build that muscle memory, it'll actually expand your nasal cavities or whatever it is back there, and make breathing through your nose actually easier, and you'll sleep better, you'll do all this, you'll feel better, and it helps on all these different levels of your mental well-being and physical well-being just by breathing through your nose more often. But yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. And meditation, huge, right? Focus on your breath. You can clear and a lot of people think, oh, I can't meditate. I sit there and I just can't turn them off. And I'm like, a lot of people think that you're supposed to be turning off your thoughts. Meditation is you're sitting with them and you're accepting them. So when you're feeling this crazy anxiety, what I do is I basically just sit there and I go, I'm feeling this. And this is called noting. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this, and you basically just list off all these feelings, and you're saying, that's thought based. This is feeling based. This is, and you almost objectify your anxiety.
Right.
And it makes it less personal. And it basically makes you okay with it. So, and it's just like the fight or flight. It's like, if I'm feeling anxiety or depression or this and that, and then I decide to fear it, that's that fight or flight. I'm like, my body sees that depression as, this is bad. I'm going to freak out about it. Now you're crazy. Now you're like really depressed and you can't find your way out. And then you start drinking or whatever you need to do. And then you numb it, whatever, But if you have over practice, if you get in a routine, little by little, very naturally, it'll just start happening one day when you'll feel that anxiety and you'll be like, oh, I'm anxious. And that's okay, because it's a perfectly human thing. Everyone gets anxious. It's fine. It'll pass if I just let it pass. But if I fear it, it's going to come at me, But if I just let it go, all of a sudden it fades out, because I'm not afraid of it, because I've sat with it and I understand it, because I have my moments with it, you know? Very strange. Not very strange, but very strange coming from me. But
I like that. That's good advice.
yeah, it works.
That's really good advice.
It just takes practice, you know?
Yeah.
Like I sit there and my shit's just going sometimes, and I'm like, I'll do 20 minutes and I'll be done. And I'll be like, well, that didn't feel like anything happened, you know?
Yeah,
but whatever.
right.
Like that's all a part of it. Like, and then it's all about that repetition. Little by little, you're making room within your mind. You know, you're just like clearing out the clutter, stupid stuff you shouldn't be thinking about. You just kind of stop thinking about or fearing, or because you know there's nothing you can do to change it. You know, and it helps.
It's good.
Meditation.
Thank you so much for joining us today, dude. It's really good to see you doing well, and thank you so much for sharing some information.
Well, I
with
never
us,
said I was
advice.
doing well.
Well, I can tell you're doing all right. I spent a lot of time with you in my life, and
Yeah.
it's nice to see you happy with where you're at. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you're interested in supporting us, you can go to patreon.com/HolyGhostNotes. We have a couple different membership level tiers. This episode is brought to you courtesy of Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. The single stroke tier is $5, double stroke is $10, triplet is $25. We have a lot of cool stuff up there, so check that out. Follow us on Instagram at Holy Ghost Notes. And thanks so much for listening. We love you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And 2 quick shout-outs, additions to our inner circle. Shout out to Colin Schlitt and Patrick Morrison. Thank you guys for your support, and great to have you in the inner circle.
Absolutely.
And thanks so much, Adam, man. It was a great conversation, and couldn't think of a better person to kick off the year with, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm the first one?
You're the
You were
first
the
one.
first.
Wow.
Absolutely. And we're going to kick off this episode with cruise control, I think. Is that all right?
As long as you
think
hit
so.
him with the chorus.
We'll wrap with
Can't
the
be boring
chorus.
them with no verses.
Start with the bridge, end with the chorus. That's right. Bring it on back.
right.
Bring her on down. That's good country.
That's
Yeah.
good stuff. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.